The Louie Tee Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to the Command Post Game Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. What are these? What are these? White shirt? White shirt? Oh, it feels good to be back, man. Back like cook crack. It's been too long. Been way too long. The fellas were wearing black, and they said, hey, you can put on white. I love it. Apologize for my tardiness. I was just polishing off the last tidbits of this 40 burger and licking off the juice off of my forearm. It was delicioso. Good. Feels good to be back. Seriously, it does. It feels good to see 17 get targeted on the first play of the game on the right side of the formation. Would you look at that? 8 targets, 8 catches, 2 touchdowns. Good things happen when you throw it to 17. Is that a hard concept to understand? I don't know why this is so hard. Throw it to 17. He was draped all over on that touchdown, the second touchdown. He still caught it anyway. Who's better at contested catches in this league? Nobody. Just throw it to 17. Brian Robinson Jr., man, he makes a difference. Come on. Tell me you see it. We talked about it last week. It's abundantly clear when 8 is in the lineup, we're a physical football team. That was the number 8 rush defense in the NFL. That's a top 10 rush defense that we ran for 267 yards on. That's the number 2 total yards defense in the NFL that we almost racked up 500 yards of total offense on. Y'all were looking for Cliff, right? Y'all was looking for first half Cliff. We found him. He was chilling. He was ready for the bye week a couple weeks too early, but he's back now. Cliff had it going. The run game, there was one stagnant period for Cliff where I thought he got a little bit too cute, got away from the run game, early stages of the third, that first possession. We had penalties. You know, the shit that we weren't doing, we did on that possession, backed ourselves up, put ourselves in a big hole, couldn't dig out of it. The next possession, he got away from the run altogether. We punted again. I said, hey, Cliff, you tripping. Get back to the basics. Get back to the ground game. And that he did. And from that point, even though we threw an interception, I said, okay, that drive calmed me down because it showed that we were capable of moving it if we needed to. And we needed to put him away. And we'll talk about the defense. We'll talk about, you know, all of the aspects of this game. I want to start with the bad. Let's eat our vegetables first because a lot of good happened today. And we're going to be eating a lot of dessert tonight. Let's start with the veggies. All right. What did I tell y'all about Zane Gonzalez's ass? What did I tell y'all on Friday's show? You're going to find out why his ass was on the streets. You were asking for Zane. Where's Zane Gonzalez? Somebody call up Zane. And I said, be careful what you wish for. He's a bum. Well, we got to embrace him now. You can't give him back. We don't have Austin Seibert for the next month. So guess what? We got to embrace Zane Gonzalez and we got to bring him in and we got to love him. All right. We got to hug him. Okay. All right. Now, it didn't cost us today, so we can be nice about it today. But let it be in a game that's close and he's doing that shit. These hugs and these pats on the back, ASI is going to turn the head slap. Hey, man, get your shit together. I told y'all he was on the streets for a reason. We could have scored 50 today if this man had his act together. And I truly believe it was his miss in the first half when we had a chance to make it 31-0 that gave the Titans life. This is probably a 31-0 game at halftime if he makes the kick. Instead, he missed. Now, we had ample opportunities to get off the field on third down on that possession before the half. And you got to credit Will Levis. He made some ballsy throws. You go, whoa, you were stuck. Whoa, you got hit in the chops. How did you get that ball off? But he did. But it should have never happened because we should have 31. They should have had no momentum, and we should have been pitching a shutout. But Zane Gonzalez ruined all of it. But I digress. We can laugh about it now because we won by 3 touchdowns. But guess what? This is a real issue. The man missed both long field goals in this game. I'm kind of glad that he did because it forced them to go for it, where if he would have made those field goals, they wouldn't have went for it on fourth down where Jaden found Luke McCaffrey. They would have kicked the field goal from 56 yards out. And it forced them to go for it. That allowed us to really put the game away, right? Possess the football, keep the first down, eat up more clock. Like, let's just get out of here. Quan Martin already gotten injured. Noah Brown had already gotten injured. We don't need any more casualties heading into this bye week. We need to be getting healthy or not getting banged up. So I was glad that they were able to stay on offense, continue to pound the rock, bleed the clock, and get out of there with no more casualties. But Zane Gonzalez was one of the few negatives on a day full of bright spots. He was not good today. But let's start from the beginning. Big shout out to those of you who were in attendance at this game. It was loud. It was the Titans. What is it doing that loud for the Tennessee Titans? You guys had it juiced up from the opening kick. They had 2 false start penalties. That was all y'all at the stadium making noise. 2 false starts. I told you this is a bad Titans team. And I said, with bad teams, sometimes you just got to move out the way and let them be bad, right? And right out of the gate, I said, this is the most penalized team in the NFL. Please, just let them be penalized in this game. Like, move out of the way and let them be bad. They're a 3-win team through 12 weeks of football for a reason. Let them reveal themselves. That shit they did last week, not who they are. Just like what we did last week isn't a great representation of who we are. That's not a great representation of who they are. They're a bad team. They don't score 30 points. That's not what they do. Okay, well, let's make sure that they understand what this is. And from the word go, the stadium was rocking, and the fans made sure that their first third down looked like this, 3rd and 22. Great. Great job, guys. That set the tone. Now they backed up. They punt the ball. We got great field position. And what do? 3 pet plays, 40-yard touchdown run, bing, bang, boom, touchdown. And we were off and running. And that's how you set the tone against a bad team. We had a chance to do it last week against Dallas when we blocked the field goal, had tremendous field position, and did nothing with it. We got tremendous field position in this game, and every time we did, touchdown. Got tremendous field position on the first possession after all of those blunders and mistakes. Field goal, and they punted 3 and out. Touchdown, 3 plays. Touchdown, right? Next possession, we take the ball away from the running back, Tony Pollard. Touchdown, 14-0. All right. The next possession, they fumble on the kickoff. Touchdown. Great play by Tyler Owens. I got in your shit last week, Tyler Owens. I got all up in your mix last week because it was you being soft on that field goal block that led to it not being a touchdown. I got all in your mix. And I challenged you. And you made a play this week and you forced a fumble. Good for you. And so we took advantage of those mistakes early. It's 21-0 in the first quarter, and we were driving for more as the end of the first quarter. As the quarter expired, we were in position to score again. It was as dominant a start as I've seen from this team in forever. Like, they showed a stat that it's the second time this season the Commanders have scored on all 3 of their first 3 possessions of the game, touchdowns. We've done that twice now. I think the other game this season where we did that, if I'm not mistaken, was against Arizona. No, it wasn't Arizona because Jaden threw his first pick in that game, and it was relatively early in the game. I think it was Cincinnati where we did that. first 3 possessions, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Because it was 28-13 at halftime. So I think it was no, it's 21-13 at halftime. We scored that touchdown coming out of halftime and made it 28-13. Then we had a chance to end the game if the defense could get a stop, and they couldn't. And that's why I didn't, because they couldn't stop us that night. And they knew it. We knew it. And all we had to do was get a defensive stop, but we couldn't. We weren't capable at that time. But that's the second time we did it this season where we scored 3 touchdowns on our first 3 possessions. We in the last 24 years combined from 2000 to 2023, one time we scored a touchdown on 3 straight possessions to start the game. Once. We've done it twice this season. I mean, that's amazing in itself. And this 42-point outburst is going to put us back in the top 5 of scoring offense. We were at number 6 for the first time in a long time. We were outside of the top 5. We had been number 1 back and forth with Baltimore. Then we started to have this bit of a stretch here where we weren't scoring points, and we fell a bit down from 1 to 2, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 5, and then to 6. This is probably going to catapult us back up into the top 3 is my guess, putting up a 42 spot, a 40 burger here. But Brian Robinson Jr. makes a massive difference. I mean, if you can't see it by now, I don't know what else to tell you. It's just different when 8's in the lineup and he's getting a rock and he's going downhill. And the beauty of this game and the way we played it is that we didn't have to put it all on his shoulders. Chris Rodriguez, for the second time this season, in the fourth quarter, came in and was the closer. He did it against the Giants. He did it again here. The man had 94 yards on just 13 carries, all of which came in the fourth quarter. He literally put the Titans to sleep in this game. It was magnificent to watch. Brian Robinson Jr. himself had 16 carries, over 100 yards. At one point, he was averaging 15 yards a carry. He looked explosive on the 40-yard run, didn't he? Did he not? That was impressive. So to see us get off to the start that we got off to today, that was a lot of fun. It was good to see the run game get back to business. Like I've been talking about, be who you are, right? And one of the keys to the game was we needed to get back to Commanders football. Like I've been talking about that for the last 3 weeks. We really haven't seen true Commanders football where we're imposing our will on the opposition. We're leaning on defensive lines. We're creating massive holes in the run game. We're exploiting them. We're getting into 3rd and shorts. We were 7 of 7 on 3rd and 2 or less in this game. And then when we got into a 4th down situation, we weren't scared. I guess, again, it was the Titans. And then your kicker is missing kicks. So it made it easy on DQ to make the decision. But I think it's good to see him be aggressive, right? In past weeks, he would have punted that football or he would have tried to attempt a long field goal, but he went for it and we got it. We paid it off, and we're 13 of 15 on 4th downs now this season. And Jaden was pressing all the right buttons. It's good to see him back and active and moving around. And he had a couple of throws on the move today, which was good to see. The playbook just felt wide open. It felt like early season Cliff again. We saw De'Ami Brown be more involved in this game. Cliff opened up the playbook. We had a flea flicker. It didn't work, right? I thought that Jeremy McNichols was way too early on the toss back. You got to let that thing develop and cook a little bit because they showed the all 22s of it. The safeties, the linebackers, everybody sucked up, but he tossed it back so quickly that they remained pretty much in the position that they needed to be. Had he just held it another step, those guys would have came up and you would have had the look. I still thought he could have, took a shot to Terry on that left sideline, but he opted not to. But we saw a lot of, variations today. The touchdown to Ertz was not a thing of beauty, but the concept was great. But it was supposed to be a fake, RPO, fake give, throw type thing. And the back didn't come on the right side. So he's faking to nobody. But he bought time. Ertz got open. We just saw a lot of diversity in what was done. How about the return of the screen game? That looked nice today, right? Slip screens all over the place. Screen to the left, screen to the right, screen to the right again. Running back screen. Like we got back to the basics. Like this is who we are. Like don't be afraid to establish an identity and then execute that identity. This is what we were earlier in the season. Short, crisp passes. Jaden Daniels, ball coming out of his hands quickly. 5-yard stop to Olamide Zaccheaus. 5-yard out to Zach Ertz. 5-yard stop to Terry McLaurin. Slant to Terry McLaurin. This is who he was early in the season. And all of a sudden, these concepts started getting longer and longer down the field, and we got away from who we had been. We got back to the basics. We got back to playing Commanders football. We won time of possession 40 minutes to 20 minutes in this game. That is who we are at our core. That is who we want to be. We rushed for 267 yards. All right. We had 3 guys average over 4 yards a carry, 2 average over 5, and 1 average over 6 yards a pop. This is who we want to be. Terry McLaurin, 8 targets, 8 catches, 2 touchdowns. This is who we want to be. And again, it was diverse. You know, we had gotten into this funk where Noah Brown's getting targeted 12 and 13 times. And what are we doing? This is who we're supposed to be. Ben Sinnott had a catch today. Luke McCaffrey had 2 catches today. De'Ami Brown had 2 catches and a run today. Terry McLaurin had 8 catches. Zach Ertz had a catch, right? Noah Brown had a catch. This is what it's supposed to look like. Spreading the wealth. We're not good enough offensively to just be force-feeding one guy not named Terry McLaurin. We're not there yet. So unless you're forcing it to Terry, you should be spreading the wealth. Everyone should be touching it. Jaden Daniels probably hit 7 or 8 different targets in this game. I just gave you, 6? You knew he threw it to the running back side of the backfield. Threw it to Brian Robinson Jr. once or twice in this game. So that's 7 right there. Like, that's what it's supposed to look like. This is what it looked like earlier this season. It was refreshing to see all of this come back. Boy, we needed the Titans. We needed this game. Did we ever? And now this bye week feels glorious, doesn't it? Get the losing taste out of your mouth. Get a big win. Head into your bye week. As fans, we can decompress, woosah, enjoy football without the stress of watching our boys play, but at the same time knowing that we took a step towards making the playoffs by winning this game. Feeling like we're back, right? Now you have confidence. And again, I'm not going to put any expectations moving forward. I'm just going to let it be what it's going to be. I went into this game with no expectations, and the boys just went out and played. And remember, we talked about this. DQ said it just felt like everybody was tight. Like the expectations started to get to them, and they weren't playing loose and free like they had been earlier this season. And they just needed to kind of pull the reins back a bit. And Bobby Wagner had that passionate speech to the team this week, and it looked like it paid off because they looked like the team we saw earlier in the season that just played loose, free, even the staff. The play calling was exceptional today. Sans for the 2 possessions to start the second half. I thought Cliff was spectacular again. He was in a rhythm. The offense was in a rhythm. We executed. We stayed away from back-breaking penalties, although we did have 7 penalties today. We do need to clean that up. But most of those came on the defensive side. There weren't a lot of back-breaking offensive penalties, negating plays, right? We had that one stretch in the third quarter, that first possession where we had all of those penalties and really put ourselves behind the chains. But for the most part, we didn't self-destruct with penalties. We didn't make a bunch of mistakes. We executed. We blocked well. We ran hard. We broke tackles, yards after contact. Jaden hit the open receiver. He was decisive today. Ball came out of his hands quickly. He was 25 of 30 for 206, 3 touchdowns. That's a new career high. And he had the interception, but he also added a rushing touchdown, accounted for 4 touchdowns today. Bitch, run me my offensive rookie of the year. Come back with my shit. Hey, we saw the award trying to run away and go over there. Bring me my shit back. Hell's wrong with you? Bring me my shit back. Bring me my goddamn award. What's wrong with you? So it was a glorious day. Defense forced a turnover. And let me give some love to the defense, right? The second half defense has been atrocious this season. That's an understatement. They played really well in the first half since about week 3. And it's been the second half that's been the Achilles heel of this defense. And I have to give them credit. Now, the Titans made a lot of mistakes. There were open receivers. How many times was Calvin Ridley running wide open through our secondary and Will Levis or him just weren't on the same page, right? The damage could have been a lot more had they been able to connect, but they didn't. That's what bad teams do. However, with that said, hey, let's stand an ovation. Everybody stand up. I think we might have seen the last of Benjamin St. Juste in a starting role. Everybody, Marshawn Lattimore will be here after the bye week. Clap it up. Yes. Yes. We made it. We made it. We made it to the Benjamin St. Juste finish line. We made it. I didn't know if we was going to get here, but we made it. Yes, we made it. I was looking at Joe Witt Jr. when we were up 2 touchdowns. Maybe it was 3. I think it was 35 to 16, 19. I think it was 35 to 13 at that point. And I looked Joe Witt Jr. in his face. I said, Joe, come here. What the hell were you thinking leaving Benjamin St. Juste one-on-one with Calvin Ridley? What did you think was going to happen? Let me ask you that. What did you think was going to happen? What did you think the outcome of that was going to be? Because we up big, you think you could just do reckless shit, huh? Good thing Will Levis overshot the man by – that was a touchdown. I said, hey, Joe, hey, don't do that shit again, man. Let that be the first and the last time you do that shit in this game. Look, we are almost there. Please don't make us have to have a damn conniption fit on Benjamin's ass on the way out of the starting lineup. Please, let us do this in peace, okay? He said, you right, I'm tripping. We should have been doubling him. What are we doing, right? That's the one thing you can't give up. Like, hey, don't do that again. But let's move forward. The defense was huge in this game because I blame Zane Gonzalez for that touchdown at the end of the first half. Even though the defense had ample opportunities to get stops there, I'm still blaming Zane Gonzalez for that. They should have never been in that position. But the offense stalled out in the third quarter. They went radio silent. And the defense could have done the thing that they've done all season, and that's give up touchdowns. And this could have turned into a damn fist fight late. If they go and they score 2 straight touchdowns instead of kick 2 field goals, just think about it this way. If they score one of those touchdowns instead of 2 field goals, and it's 28-17, I'm not going to lie to you. I ain't going to hold you. When it was 28-13, your boy was nervous. Your boy was nervous. When Jaden threw that pick, and Ertz tipped it up. I thought Ertz should have caught the damn ball. Was it high? Yes. Could he have caught it? Yes. Should he have caught it? Yes. But anyway, when that pick was thrown, you want to talk about somebody, your boy was nervous. Your boy was nervous. I'm over here pacing and shit. Like, he was up 28-0, and then Zane Gonzalez, bitch ass, missed that field goal, and here we go with that bullshit. And now everything was going well. Now we over here fighting for our life, man. I don't like this shit. And did you hear how quiet the stadium got? For as loud as it was in the first half, that shit was quiet. You know why they were quiet? Because they got the same PTSD. They suffer from the same PTSD my ass is suffering from. Where I'm like, man, we go with that bullshit. And if this was the Rivera crew, we would have been in a fight. We might have, first of all, we'd have never been up 28-0. That's the first thing. But had we found a way to be up big, we would have blown the shit, and we would have had to fight to win this game. But the defense said, hey, don't worry about it. We got y'all today. Don't try this shit next week or 2 weeks from now against New Orleans or the week after against Philadelphia. Like, don't try this shit again, right? Where you asking us to do, this Captain Save a Hole, or in this case, Captain Save the O shit. Don't ask us to do this against good teams. We'll do it today because we play in Tennessee. And they held them to 2 field goals. If either of them are a touchdown, this is a different game. Because then all of a sudden, we keep hearing footsteps, baby. in the dark. Oh, in the dark. We would start hearing footsteps. I would start looking over my shoulder. I'm seeing ghosts. I'm seeing ghosts. Are they coming for us? The defense said, don't worry about it. We got it today. Don't try this shit against the Saints. Don't try this against the Eagles or the Falcons. But we got you today. Don't worry about it. And it was those 2 field goals that they held them to keep them at bay, to allow us to get our shit together and eventually get the touchdown to push it out to 35-13. And then even after you felt like it was over, because I exhaled that. Once it got to 35, I was like, if we get to 35, it's over. Once we got to 35, it was over. But then they still went down and they scored a touchdown. And I thought that 2-point conversion breakup by Mike Sainristil was huge because it kept the score at a distance where these boys are cooked. Like if they get the 2-point conversion and it's 14, you're like, uh-oh, wait a minute. It's 35-21. They're right back in this thing, right? 16 feels a lot tougher. And then the offense said, don't worry about it. We got it from here. You know, they went down and gutsy call by, you know, by Dan Quinn to go for it on 4th and I think it was 4th and 4, I believe, 4th and 2, 4th and 4, something like that. Gutsy call for him to go for it. And Luke got it. And then I love the Luke chant by the fans in the crowd. Luke. That was awesome. They were chanting Terry after the first catch of the game, like almost like a Bronx cheer, so to speak. Like, yeah, but they always do that. They always serenade Terry with love. But that was even more like them saying, hey, they finally got it to you early. This is crazy. But shout out to the defense for forcing the turnover early and then holding them to field goals late to really give us a chance to get back on track. And we ultimately did. Those were big stops by the defense because without them, who knows what this game turns into. But big win. All phases played well, even though Zane Gonzalez missed 2 kicks. The special teams forced the turnover. They were excellent. Defense, as I mentioned, forced an early turnover, got stops early in the game. The one thing I didn't like with the defense, 2 things, actually. Didn't love the tackling today. I thought the tackling was shoddy at best. And I think that's putting it mildly. And then I did not love our 3rd down defense today. I thought that the Titans at one point were averaging 3rd and 11. And they converted a 3rd and 14, like a 3rd and 9, and a 3rd and like 2 3rd and 7s. And I'm like, we have had opportunities to get off the field and we keep letting them make. And some of these were great throws. Like there's one play where Will Levis is getting hit and he throws a dot to Okonkwo, and you can't play it any better if you're Jeremy Chin. I mean, shit, he's in great position. He swipes at it, and the ball is just in a perfect spot, similar to the Terry touchdown throw. Like, you just can't defense the perfect pass. And so he made some plays. He made some throws. There was another one that I think Tyler Boyd on a corner route where Jeremy Chin blitzes and hits him right in the mouth, and he still completes. I'm like, yo, Will, I got to give you some credit. He spun out of a sack on 3rd and 14 and finds Ridley for like 29. You're like, ah. But outside of that, those 2 things, the tackling and the inability, like Deron Payne had a sack opportunity and he gave the sack to Frankie Louvu. And I'm like, you had it, bro. I can't spoon feed you the sack. You did everything, and then you let him get away. Just like you did Baker Mayfield earlier this season. Just like you did Daniel Jones. I can't feed you the sack, bro. You did everything and didn't get it. Now you're going to give it to Frankie. Like Frankie need more sacks. He had 2 more today. He's at what? 9.5 now, I think, or 9 on the season. Frankie was really good again today. I think Fowler had 2 sacks today too. I think he might be over 10 and a half, if I'm not mistaken, for him. He had 2. He had the freebie when they fumbled the snap, and he went and got him touchdown, and then he had the one where he went and slung him down on the ground. So I think he ended up with 2 today, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So defense played well. And last but not least, the offense was phenomenal. Offense was phenomenal. 9 of 14 on third downs, 267 yards on the ground, 5 of 7 in the red zone, 5 touchdowns, 7 trips to the red zone. This is the type of efficiency I'm talking about. This is what I was looking for against Dallas last week. 7 trips to the red zone. 7 trips. And the only reason it's 5 of 7 is we took knees the final time we were in the red zone to end the game. So it was a total dominant effort by this offense. And Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Witt, Dan Quinn, Larry Izzo, great performance. We needed this bad. Boy, did we ever. Shout out to the Titans for blessing us today, for doing all the things that 3 and now 9 teams do. Thank you. We needed this bad. Feels good. Feels good. Anyway, I'm going to get to your comments here in a second. Before we do that, let's jump inside the odds, brought to you by BetUS, and then we will get to your comments.
Inside the odds.
Looking for a new book? BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get up to 10% back on your net losses twice a year as long as you were active in the last 6 months. And here's the big kicker for brand new users to BetUS. Use the promo code YouTube150 to get you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit of up to $2,000 and a 25% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits of up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Also, remember, bet responsibly and only bet what you can afford to lose. And most importantly, do not chase your losses. You see the spread, 5.5. This thing started out at 7.5 and got down to 5.5. And clearly you can see the Commanders covered this spread with ease. But it just goes to show you where we were, right? Like 3-game skid, struggling on offense, not looking like the same team, turning the football over. I was disappointed that we didn't produce more turnovers today. I thought there were more opportunities for turnovers to be forced in this game. The ball was up in the air. Will Levis had the ball. Like, we just aren't opportunistic. Felt like there were opportunities, that ball sitting in the air, and nobody was close enough to pick it off. Noah Igbenogany had a chance. He turned around, located the ball late on a pass, got his hands on it, but he probably could have picked it off if he'd got his head around faster. Felt like Frankie Louvu had a chance when Tony Pollard, bobbled and dropped the pass, and it felt like it was right there for Louvu, and he didn't pick it off. Like, can we just make a play? Like, we have 3 interceptions this year. We have 3 interceptions. One of the interceptions is by a guy that's no longer even on the roster right now. Okay? Like, we just don't pick the ball off. I need more interceptions, but we forced quite a bit of fumbles, recovered 2 of them today, won the turnover battle 2-1. Thought we had a chance to get 3 or 4 turnovers forced today, and we just didn't. You see the total, 44.5. We almost hit the total by ourselves, scoring 42. We would have had the total if our kicker could make a kick. If he could make more than just the extra points, we would have covered that total by ourselves. But obviously, we hit the over on the total. Commanders scored 42 points by themselves in this game. Could have scored 50 today if our kicker had his act together. Dominant performance by the Commanders, like I said, much needed. And so we'll come back to Inside the Odds and check on some of the prop bets from this game. But I digress. Stand up! We in the building and celebrate. We off the schneid, back in the left-hand column. Feels good to be where we belong. So, I guess before we get to the comment section, I'm actually curious as to what the Eagles are doing right now. They're trailing 9-7. They start slow. This is what they do. But that looks like a defensive struggle. I like it. Panthers trying to do us a solid by beating the Bucks. That'd be nice. Saints trying to do us a solid by beating the Rams. I don't want them to get too carried away, and then by the time we get to them, they got this abundance of confidence. With the Falcons losing, if the Bucks lose, the Saints could get right back in that division. So, hey, calm down a little bit. But I'd rather them be back into it, fighting, beat the Rams, create this space that we need, right? Create this space that we need, because I think the 49ers are going to lose to the Bills. And so now we got to start looking at anybody that could be trying to challenge for the wild card, and we're trying to create that distance. And so it'd be nice if the Bucks lost today. It'd be nice if the Rams lost. But again, we don't need those things to happen. We want those things to happen, because the best team right now, record-wise, in the hunt category, 6-6. That was a big come from behind victory. We needed that bad by the Minnesota Vikings, because if the Cardinals had won that game, they would have improved to 7-5. The Seahawks came back and beat the Jets. They got to 7-5. So even though we would have still been ahead of the Cardinals by a half game on our bye week, the Cardinals could have won next week, and now we're tied with them. Now we got the tiebreaker because we beat them, but still, I just love the fact that they're at 6-6 now. We got a full game and a half on them, and we beat them in the regular season. So we're sitting pretty right now, but we got to keep winning. That's the key. Keep winning. All right. Keep winning games. All right. Let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. Big shout out to everybody. Big shout out to the mob. My apologies. I got stuck in holiday traffic today and was not able to make it home in enough time to fire up the stream. And so my apologies. I thought I was going to make it home sooner, and that holiday traffic, we were in the car for at least 4 hours today, maybe 4.5 hours. It was brutal, but we did it to ourselves. What can I say? Frank McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, my guy. Big shout out to Frankie, baby. Aloha for the blessing that you provided on Cash App. Really, truly do appreciate you. So once again, big shout out to my guy, Frankie, baby, for all the love and support, man. And again, thank you for this super chat and your tremendous generosity. Can't thank you enough. Who writes, Lou, aloha, Frankie, baby. Aloha. We back. That was the hashtag for the 2 tickets to the game. We back. And that's exactly what we are. The team played well today. Did a lot of things they did early in the season. Misdirection plays, change in tempo, hit Terry early and often. I really like that they were moving him around. It almost is like they listened to you. We've been talking about these things for a long time, and shout out to our media. They applied pressure on Cliff Kingsbury in the last couple of weeks with the statistics. Like, you can't deny this shit. Terry McLaurin has been the receiver in the league that has spent the most time on the left side of the formation in the NFL this year. All right? By far, in a way. And they kept bringing up the discrepancy. They kept bringing up the statistics that they didn't want to hear and throwing it in their face so they couldn't ignore it. So big shout out to the media for really making that a thing. But the offense did feel like it did early in the season. Heavy emphasis on the ground game. Heavy emphasis on getting the ball out of Jaden's hands quickly. Heavy emphasis on the screen game. Heavy emphasis on spreading the ball around. Heavy emphasis on all parts of the field. They took shots down the field, right? Even though they didn't hit it, they took shots down the field. They hit the intermediate. They hit a lot of the short passes, right? They worked the left side, the right side, the middle of the field, right? It wasn't just right side, right side, right side, right side, right side. So there were a lot of good things that took place in this game. As you mentioned, the misdirection, the big B-Rob touchdown run was pulling, 2 pullers from the left side coming to the right, open up the hole. B-Rob explodes, gets through there, and gets in there for the touchdown. I don't know if we've seen B-Rob run that fast this season, probably since the Giants game in week 2. Good to see him be able to get past that safety and score that touchdown and not get tackled at the 3 or the 2 or something like that. So it felt good to see them get off to a fast start. They were able to do that in this game, and it benefited them greatly. Kevin, the PRF, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, people are wanting an offensive tackle or a DN. Right now, our most pressing need is a professional hairstylist so Zane Gonzalez can hit his kicks. All I need is for them to solidify that position in the offseason. We have what we have. It's the same thing I've talked about with anybody complaining about the lack of talent on this team at various positions. This is year one of a recalibration. We are who we are. We have what we have. It was enough to start this season 7-2. It should be enough to get us to the playoffs. No excuses. Figure it out. Do a better job of coaching up the stuff that we do have, which is what they did today, and making it successful. And our kicking situation is what it is, and we just got to make do with it. If you want to eliminate the kicker, do what you did today by scoring touchdowns so that his impact is minimized. That's how you control the kicker narrative. But look, this is a league where you're going to play better teams, and it's going to come down to can your kicker make kicks. And right now, we got a kicker that we don't trust. He went 0 for today, and Austin Seibert, I told you, I wouldn't get rid of him. You know, I hope he gets back sooner rather than later. I know they put him on IR, so he's going to miss the next 3 games at a bare minimum. And that sucks because while he's been inconsistent in terms of striking the ball, when he has hit it good, he's made kicks this season. Zane Gonzalez just missed 2 kicks, and he pushed both of them to the right, and it's a trend for him. Even the extra points, he pushed those right, but because I tell you what, just go back and think about those extra points, right? Visualize those extra points. Those things were tailing right, all of them, but they were only 33 yards, right? So before they could tail right and miss, they would go through the uprights. But just think about, play those kicks back in your mind. Go back and watch those kicks. Watch every single one of those extra points. That shit is tailing right. And if they'd been, if that extra point had been from 38 yards or 40 yards, he'd have missed one of those bitches. They'd have hit the upright. But those kicks were from 40, I think 46 and 52. And so it had more than enough distance to tail right, and they both did. I don't trust this dude, and I told y'all was going to find out about him. The V Reaper, been a member for 22 months. Thank you for being a member for 22 months. Almost at that 2-year Annie, who writes, went to N-Dub Northwest for a must-win game and came home with the dub. I love it. Y'all were loud, man. Y'all were large and in charge in that stadium. And it was beautiful. The shots of the stadium, man, a sea of burgundy and gold. That's what you're supposed to do when you're playing the Titans. They're not supposed to come in here with a bunch of their fans taking over nothing. It was all burgundy and gold, and y'all were loud from the jump. I loved it. Great job, guys. Way to go in there and extract the dub and come home with it. Wilfredo Elias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, that's what Tennessee gets for not paying A.J. Brown. It's a lot going on there, but A.J. Brown is the least of their worries, but they sure could use it. But I mean, they got Calvin Ridley. He's a good receiver. He's not A.J. Brown, but at the end of the day, they still need a quarterback. I thought Will wasn't that bad, but is Will Levis good enough to, ultimately get you where you want to go? Probably not, but he got some talent. I'll tell you that much. I thought that last year watching him, and you see it again this year. Tiger Chris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Tiger Chris writes, what up, Lou? What's up, Tiger Chris? This was my first time seeing the guys in person today, and it was such an awesome experience. You always love it when your first time is a great time, right? And that's exactly what it was for you today. That makes you want to go back and do it again. He said the run game was on point today, and JD5 looked ready for whatever they threw at him. Hashtag HTTR/C. He looked poised. He looked in command. The offensive line did a great job in pass protection today. There were only 1 or 2 times where they gave up pressures, and he felt like sped up and had to move. And one of them resulted in a sack fumble that was recovered by Allegretti. But all in all, they did a really good job protecting him. He did a great job of protecting himself. Ran, got down, got out of bounds. He threw on the move a little bit today. Still thought he left a little meat on that bone, but the throw to Terry, when he rolled out to his left was beautiful to see. He had another play where he threw it, I think, moving to his right, where he threw it to someone. I think that was the one that Ertz that got picked off, but I still love to see it, right? Him throwing on the move, not looking to just be a runner, solely a runner. So the run game was the catalyst today. Everything started with the run game and the success there, and we played off of that. And that's who we've been. That's who we need to be moving forward. And it was good to see that return. Glad you had a great time. I sure did watching it. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "Give me them cookies. Yum, yum. Eat them up. Terry will be an all-pro this year with these numbers. 900 yards, 9 TDs, 4 games left. Time to enjoy the rest." I love it. I told you the goal for Terry for this year was 1,300 yards. It'd be nice if he can get there. Where are we at yardage-wise? I feel like we should be closing in on 1,000 right now. But let's see exactly where Terry McLaurin is. Terry McLaurin's stats. He has... Oh, he's only at 896, so he's not quite at 900, but he's pretty much there. I want him at 1,300. That would require him to average 100 yards over the next 4 games. I don't know if he can do that. He looks like he's gonna get to his mile marker of receptions, which is 75. He's at 61 right now. But the 9 touchdowns are a career high. We got to get him into double digits there. It's going well for our guy. It's so good to see him and Jaden. Peekaboo, I see you. It's good to see him, finally having a quarterback he can establish a connection with and finally getting into the end zone, man. The end zone is fun. Touchdowns are fun. You know how they used to say chicks dig the long ball? Touchdowns are fun. Those are a lot of fun. People love touchdowns. Players love touchdowns. You get paid off of touchdowns. You score a lot of them. You win a lot of football games. Touchdowns are great. Anthony P., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Anthony P., thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, 40 burger. Yum, yum. Delicioso. Ah, yes. The old 40. Hey, it's been so long. I had forgot how to eat one of these, man. I forgot. I mean, earlier, I was just stuffing my face with these 40 burgers. I had totally forgotten how to eat these. I didn't have my napkin present. Normally, I got a napkin to wipe off the excess juice running down the forearm. I didn't have a napkin. I didn't come prepared. I didn't come prepared for a 40 burger. But boy, it was smelling so good on that grill, though. When it got to 28, I said, "Is that a 40 burger I smell?" And I looked over, and Jaden Daniels had on a chef hat, and he was like, "Yeah, we cooking one up." He said, "You got any requests? Anything you want on it? You want some cheese?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good on the cheese." He said, "You want onions?" I'm like, "I'll take some onions." He said, "You want some guac?" "You know I want some guac." He said, "All right, I got you, bro. All right, you want some mushrooms?" "Yeah, that sounds really good. Mushrooms? Yeah. Go ahead and put a couple mushrooms on the grill too, man. That sounds really good." I said, "Could I perhaps get just a slice of pineapple too?" He's like, "You're doing too much." I said, "You're right. I am doing too much. Just give me the mushrooms, the onions, and the guac, and I'll be good." Delicioso. Love it. Nectar, been a member for 5 months. Really appreciate you. Frankie, yo, been a member for 31 months, getting close to that 3-year. Annie, who writes, 8-5 feels way better than 7-6. Good win. Man, it's simple mathematics, right? 8-5 better than 7-6. But how you feel going into the bye week feels even better, right? At 8-5 than 7-6. I mean, man, we needed this bad. You don't really appreciate how good you had it until you start losing and you realize, damn, we had it good. I just want to win again. So it feels good to be back in the winner's circle. Feels good to be back in the left-hand column. Layla Brown, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Layla writes, "Louie, good win." Yes. Says O-line played their asses off. It starts up front. we can make this all about Cliff, and we can make this all about Jaden, and B-Rob not having B-Rob. We can make it about a lot of things, but it starts in the trenches. All right. Starts in the trenches. Both sides of the ball. Right. Titans couldn't really get a run game going. And after they fell behind, they couldn't run the football. Right. Let's check and see what it ended up being from a running standpoint for them in this game. They started out and Pollard 8 for 35. So they were having some success, a lot of it on the edge. But once he fumbled, and this is going to help the old rush average. We've been giving up a ton of yards. They only had 35 yards rushing. You jump on a team 21-0 after the first quarter and 28-0 halfway through the second, the run game becomes non-existent. So that's going to help the old run average. We were trending towards being the worst rush defense in football. This is going to help us move up about 4 or 5 slots and get us away from worse than the NFL at stopping the run. This is going to help a lot because we're giving up 145 yards a game, I think. This is going to bring that down significantly, probably to 130-something, which will probably put us 4th in the league in terms of rush yards given up. But at the end of the day, starts up front with the offensive line. And you were spot on. They played their ass off. Not only did they run block their asses off well today, shout out to the tight ends too. When you run it as well as we did today, it's not just the offensive line, it's the tight ends doing their job too. It's John Bates, it's Zach Ertz, it's Ben Sinnott. Like, you got to give them love too. But Jaden had plenty of time to throw the football. Again, this was the number 1 pass defense pass defense in the NFL. And he had time to throw the football today. And so it starts with the offensive line. Benjamin Slade, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Benjamin Slade writes, what's crazy to me is we have a lot of holes, but we are winning. I'm not looking past this season, but it's nice to know our future is bright. Anyone in the mob able to kick? We had one person offer their services earlier in the season, but I think we found out that he was more like Brucey in terms of kicking the football. But we did have somebody step up and say, hey, I got the leg warm if you need me. I was like, yeah, we probably gonna be all right. But look, we may need him. We may need him. I don't know. Hey, Shooter, you out there? We might need you. We might need you, bro. Benjamin, I agree with the part about having a lot of holes, but we're winning. I've talked about this being a well-coached team. It helps to play some of the teams we played this season, but you still got to take care of business. As we saw last week, losing to Dallas. I talked about how good teams respond, right? You saw what the Steelers did. They lost to the Browns. What did they do? They went on the road and beat Cincinnati, scored 40 points in doing so. We saw the Ravens lose earlier this season to the Browns. What did they do? They responded with a big win the following week, scoring 40 points against the Broncos. All right. Shit happens. You lose to teams that you probably shouldn't lose to. The good teams bounce back the following week. We just did that and we scored 40 points, just like the Ravens did, just like the Steelers did. We bounced back. All right. The future is very bright. RVA Point of Views. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, salute to the mob. I need more C-Rob going forward. Him and B-Rob together could be dangerous. I just like how he comes in and closes the show. This has been impressive. He's another guy that I'm pretty sure DQ is going to point to as a guy that never complained, been cut already. They've been brought back on the practice squad a couple of times, gave up his number for a dude who still hasn't played a snap on his team and did it graciously. But when his number has been called this season, he's stepped up every time. And he did it again. And we're going to need him. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it moving forward. We're gonna need Chris Rodriguez moving forward because X out. We got what we got. We got to make the most of it. I knew B-Rob was going to play when they didn't sign that other running back. If they would have signed another running back, whether it was James Robinson or Boston Scott, then I would have been like, oh, B-Rob ain't playing. But he played and he was huge today. And now getting this week off, he should be ready to go against New Orleans. We'll have Marshawn Lattimore back finally. You're hoping that we get other guys back healthy, Wiley back. And, you just kind of go from there, right? Hopefully, now we got to see what the injuries are for Noah Brown and for Quan Martin. Quan looks like the shoulder. He already had a harness on the shoulder and he got ran into. So that's probably, nothing that a week off might not be able to help, right? Same with Noah Brown. We got to find out the extent of that injury. I still don't even know what's wrong with him. Looked like a hip pointer. It could have been a head, head hitting the ground. It could have been anything. So we got to await news on him because he continues to play really well for us. We need him. So hopefully it's not too serious. Commander Cole, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Commander Cole writes, where the Jaden haters at now? Belt to ass. Terry is so good, man. Give him a blank check. Let's rest up and make a run. HTTC. Again, a lot of positive vibes. This is a far cry from where we were last week when we were, oh no, we suck again, back to being trash, fire the whole staff. That shit existed last week. It did. As crazy as any of that stuff sounds, that existed last week. It's good that's we got that out of our system, and hopefully we finish up this season strong and go into the postseason playing good football, right? Hopefully it's the beginning of a new streak for us. We get hot and nobody wants any parts of us heading into the end of the season, into the postseason. Benjamin Slade, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Also, Louie, you are right. Can someone tell JD he can throw on the run? He'll get better at that. It's that's something that he's gonna have to continue to work at. It's something he's gonna have to continue to work at. He did it a couple of times today. I was proud of him. Baby steps. That's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for is baby steps. Effort. He did that today. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Swaggy P, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, love the fast start. The third quarter was kind of shaky, but glad we were able to take control in the fourth. Kicking game still an issue. Should have had 6 interceptions this game. Louvu and Frozone are beasts again. On to the bye. Hashtag raise hell. Third quarter was definitely shaky. Defense stepped up in the third quarter and held them to 2 field goals because it could have been worse, right? But like you said, was able to reestablish dominance in the fourth quarter, put the game away. Kicking game definitely an issue. And I felt like we should have had at least 2 interceptions today, at least 2. That ball was in the air a bunch of times, and we just can't seem to be in the right spot. Like when we picked off Lamar Jackson, right place, right time. We just need to find a way to just create more turnovers. This should have been a 4 turnover day that we produced, and we only got 2. So Louvu and Frozone absolutely continue to be really good for us. Louvu, I think, notched 2 sacks today. Matter of fact, let me see if they credited him and Dante Fowler Jr. with 2 sacks. I feel like both of them had 2 sacks today. Nope, they credited Duran with a half, Louvu with 1, Cleve with a half. So they didn't give DFJ any sacks on the day, which is crazy because he was the one who tagged down Will Levis on the bad snap. That's a free sack. I don't know what they scoring that as, but felt like he should have been credited with a sack there. But nonetheless, I digress. Not going to beat that dead horse. On to the bye, man. That feels good to get the win going into the bye week. Rob, you. Been a member for 39 months. Salute to you, Rob U, who writes, what up, Lou? What's up, Rob U? Taking care of business before a much-needed buy. Chin is a menace near the line of scrimmage, but I always get nervous when I see him in coverage. You know, his coverage hasn't been bad per se, short to intermediate. It's been the coverage down the field that makes you hold your breath a little bit. Thought he got away with a little tug there. That was a veteran tug, though, right? Had the receiver, the tight end, Okonkwo's arm, but he had it low, right? Now, he had one where he literally was trying to pull the man undershirt off of his body. It was so far away, and he ain't let the shit go. He's like, F it. I'm going to get the penalty. I might as well get my money's worth. I mean, he grabbed the shit out of his shirt. So as he gets further away from the line of scrimmage, he becomes more and more of a liability in coverage. Coincidentally enough, his interception against the Steelers was down the field in coverage as a two-deep safety, and he was able to pick the ball off. But generally speaking, as he gets further away, his coverage abilities, get worse and worse. But he's actually been pretty good short to intermediate as a defender. And remember, he had the nice knockaway on an intermediate route against the Giants in the second game. He had one today where he played it perfectly, and it was just a better throw. I actually think he's been solid, but it's good to see him blitzing. He got the blitz twice today, so that's good. And I think it's going to happen even more with Marshawn Lattimore coming back here shortly. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, JD5, 4 touchdowns today. Feels good. Hashtag offensive rookie of the year. Hey, bring me my award back, man. Run me my shit. They was trying. Now, Bo Nix has a chance on Monday night to remind everybody of why he's firmly in this conversation. Or Cleveland's defense can make him look like a rookie, and this thing can start to create a little bit of distance. But JD did what he needed to do. Accounted for 4 touchdowns today, a career-high 3 passing touchdowns. We need them numbers to go up a little bit. Those passing touchdowns go up. Add another rushing touchdown. It'd be nice if he ends this season with double-digit rushing touchdowns, over 20 passing touchdowns. We're heading towards that. And if he can do that, that I think will solidify rookie of the year, right? If you're doing those things. So, Command the Room, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Command the Room writes, Lou, Terry is washed. Most efficient target reception ratio in the league. Best contested wide receiver in the league. Most touchdowns in his career. Washed? Question mark. Look, when he doesn't have a big game, you get those types of comments from people, right? He's not a real number one. He doesn't have explosive ability, all of that stuff. Look, I always tell people, just appreciate what he is. Stop telling me what he ain't. What he is a machine. What he is a guy that when you throw it to him, he usually catches the ball, or like he did on the third down today, drew a pass interference penalty. So just throw him the damn football. That's all I've ever asked for, was the proper amount of target shares for Terry McLaurin. That's it. If you treated him like the other number ones around the league get treated, where they get volume and volumes of targets, this man would be producing at a much higher level, but we don't, for whatever reason, and I can't explain it. He got targeted today. He caught the ball today. It's not hard. The math is really mathing. It's an easy equation. Terry plus targets equals production. So do it. I don't understand why it's so hard. Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rob U writes, Lou, I hate to bring up old shit. Uh-oh. But can you imagine how far along we would be with this new staff if only half of Rivera picks would have hit? Just give me Gonzalez, bro. Just give me Gonzalez. He had another pick today, did Christian Gonzalez against Indy. Just give me Christian Gonzalez and I would have been fine. I could have lived with the Jamin Davis pick. I could have lived with all of the failures if you'd have just got the Christian Gonzalez pick right. He was there. He was the best corner in that year's draft, and you whiffed because you were so thirsty for turnovers. You whiffed. I remember draft night like it was yesterday. I was up here on the stream screaming, under, yeah, we about to get Christian Gonzalez. And then I got the gas face. And look, I mocked us, goddamn Emmanuel Forbes, because I knew that dumbass staff was going to do some stupid shit like that. Then, you know what made it worse? When we watched the commander's log and dumbass Ron Rivera is riding into the facility talking about, if he's on the board, we're going to take him. So it didn't matter what happened in front of them. They had already made up their minds because they were stupid as hell. But we don't got to deal with that no more. Like you said, we've talking about old stuff. Anyway, Mike H., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, so glad Jaden looks 100% again. Yeah, you can tell he was dealing with something earlier. The rib was definitely obstructing him. They rolled up on his ankle a little bit. He's gonna be fine. But again, a little rest ain't never hurt nobody. This week, this bye week is at the perfect time for a team that desperately needed a bye week. This is gonna feel great, man. I'm so happy for them, and I'm happy for us as a fan base. We needed this bad going into the bye week for sure. It's good to see him out there running around, making plays, smiling again. That was nice. Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for the doubling up. Who writes, Cliff went back to the drawing board. Thumbs up. Again, he just needed to get back to the basics. Do the things that we did earlier in the season that led to success. Like, it wasn't hard. I didn't understand why we were being like defiant. We were literally going against the things that worked for us earlier. The getting the ball out of Jaden's hands quickly, the establishing the run game, sticking with it, having that stick-to-itiveness with the run game, spreading the ball around, throwing to both the left and the right side and the middle of the football field. So all portions of the field, not just the right side of the field. Not having these long developing routes, forcing your quarterback to have to stand in there with the ball in his hands for too long. Like, we got back to the basics. I don't understand why that was so hard. It shouldn't have taken as long as it did for us to get back to being who we were. If we would have did this against Dallas last week, we'd have had success. And I know Dallas is a different defense and they pose different threats. But if we would have gotten the ball out of Jaden's hands quicker, we would have established a running game. The Cowboys don't stop the run very effectively. If we would have done the things we did today, we would have won that game last week. So it's good to see Cliff, doing the things that he needs to do, making those necessary adjustments. Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rob Yu writes, love the fast start. I may be reaching, but I would have loved to have seen them put them away completely in the first half. They could have done it. They had chances. When we missed that field goal, you finish that drive off with a touchdown, it's 35-0, the game's over. The game's over. It would have completely been done that point had they not had to settle for that field goal and ultimately missed it and gave the Titans life. But you're not reaching. The game should have been and could have been over in the first half. And I love the fast start just as much as you did, if not more, because what do I always talk about with bad teams? The thing you need to do with a bad team is let them know that they're bad early. The one thing you don't want to do playing a bad team, as we saw last week against Dallas, is let them hang around and give them confidence. The more you give them confidence, the more you give them a reason to believe, the bigger fight you have on your hands. Take care of, your business. Don't play with your food. And this is the end result. You love to see it. Jack Taberley, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Jack Taberley writes, almost sold my season tickets. Thank God I didn't. I screamed my ass off like I always do and had numbers behind me. Hashtag HTTC. Hashtag HTTC. Still waiting on the day when I see my man Lou at one of these games. It'll happen one of these days. I can't tell you when, but it'll happen. But you guys did a hell of a job, Jack. You guys did a hell of a job because, like I said, I heard the fans louder than I think I might have heard them all year. The only thing that was louder was the Carolina game when DFJ got the pick six. That's the loudest I heard the building all year. But to start a game when nothing has happened other than a kickoff, to force 2 false start penalties on the first, 2-3 snaps, that's crazy. That was all y'all. It was loud, man. You guys did a hell of a job. Really did. It started with y'all, and then they took off from there. They fed off y'all energy. It's DC. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. It's DC writes, props to Cliff. Looks like he hit a reset and went back to the writing block. Just wish we could get Luke more involved. And I think it'll happen over time. Luke had a big catch in the game, so you love to see that. The fourth down catch. So good to see Luke getting involved and making his presence felt. And he'll get more targets. It'll happen. It'll happen. Metaphor. Been a member for 39 months. Salute to Metaphor, who writes, today felt different. Wonder why? Because it is different. That's why. It is. And despite how you felt last week, in the week before, when we piled up 3 straight losses, it's different. It feels different because it is different. And even when we were losing, I kept trying to convey that message. Even though it sucks, losing sucks, especially when you have expectations all of a sudden. It sucks. But you have to recognize where we are, where we came from, and where we're going. And this is all a part of the process. I love it. Captain Obvious, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, is Ray Finkel healthy? A playoff team needs a confident kicker. I'm just saying, hashtag HTTR. I agree. Question mark. Is it going to be held to the Redskins? No, it's not going to be held to the Redskins. Don't hold your breath, okay? Don't hold your breath for the old logo or the name or any of that. None of that stuff's coming back. But hey, if you want to believe that, I don't want to be the one to rain on your parade. So keep going on and hoping that comes to fruition. You're not wrong about a playoff team needing a good kicker. I don't disagree with that, which is why I'm hoping that we get Austin Seibert back and he gets his shit together. And let's just hope that it was the hip or the groin or whatever, right? And that he comes back fully healthy and starts to kick the ball like he did before. And again, you're gonna get some of those ones where he doesn't hit it well, but he was super accurate, and which is what Zane Gonzalez is not. Okay, so let's hope that we get a healthy kicker here down the stretch that can help us win some football games. Ricky D. Hustle, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ricky D. writes, what up, Lou? What up, Ricky? Went to the game from Texas, got the win, and going to New Orleans to bring home another win. You know what it is. I love it. P.S. It was quiet in the third. People buying stuff in the concourse. Hashtag TTC. That's all a part of it. Halftime, you get out of your seat, you go to concession, you go to concourse, you start buying stuff. You're not back in your seat. But it was quiet for a long time, bro. I mean, it's understandable to be quiet at the beginning of the third. It was quiet late in the third when the Titans were at work. It felt like the momentum had swung. They got the touchdown in the first half. They got a stop. We had bad penalties to start the second half drive. So we punted. They got the field goal, made it 28-10. We went on the move. We punted again, matter of fact. Then they scored another field goal. Then we threw the interception, and it was just quiet. It was just quiet. And then the energy came back in the fourth quarter when we, started getting it going again. But I love it. I love it. JB3, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JB3 writes, I remember your all-time Redskins team from the summer. You need to add Terry to that list. I don't care who you take off. Okay. I know what you're talking about. The all-time he's not there yet. Not on that Mount Trashmore you're talking about. He's not there yet. But by the time he gets to the end of his career, he probably will be on the Redskins / Commanders, the Washington. We'll just call it the Washington Mount Rushmore. He probably will be if he continues on the pace. He's passed every week. It feels like he's passing another, legendary guy, within the construct of this team, not legendary in the league, but a Chris Cooley or a Ricky Sanders or Gary Clark. It just feels like every week he's passing another notable name in terms of the amount of receptions or yards or this or that. So yeah, he's climbing up those charts and he's making some noise, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get on that list. John Perez, my guy, JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, JP writes, Lou, good to see you as always. Likewise, JP. I saw you talking reckless, so I'm glad it did not come to fruition. The JP damn sure said before the game, if we lose this game, fire everyone. He went full JP on us, but I'm glad it did not come to that. Excuse me. I'm glad it didn't come to that we didn't have to go full JP, fire everyone, because we won. He says, hope you enjoyed your holiday. Likewise, JP. I hope it was great. Spent time with the family and enjoyed those that you love. He says, man, did we need this win today, but we still need to beat good teams, though. It's a part of the process. Look, win the ones you're supposed to. We'll grow eventually and get to a place where we can start beating good teams. But the first step to becoming a good team is beating the teams you're supposed to beat, okay? That is a art that will never be lost on good teams, okay? Beating the ones you're supposed to. Again, you look at the end of the season and you look at the teams with 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 wins. Look at how many of those, thank you. Look at how many of those wins came against teams with losing records that are quote unquote bad. Like, you got to win those games. Did you see the Chiefs struggling with the Raiders? Right? That's a bad Raiders team. They almost went into Kansas City and won, but they didn't. You know why? Because good teams find a way to win. Just find a way to win the damn game. We had a chance to do that last week, and we didn't do it, right? But you look around. The Eagles fans love to say, who did you beat? Who did you beat? Look at you. We didn't play the same teams. Who did you beat? Right? They got a chance to beat a good team today in Baltimore, though. So we also need to talk about that epic fail that is the A-Rod Jets. We'll talk about that on the podcast. Another bad loss for them. Yikes. Did Justin Tucker just miss a kick? I see everybody saying he's washed, he's selling. I guess they had a chance to take the lead because it was 14-12 at halftime. Did he miss another kick? He just, I mean, it's one of them years, right? Yeah, he just missed. It's one of them years. It happens. Like every kicker, I've never seen a kicker not have a year where they struggle. He'll be back to himself next year. But this is just one of them years. Just 2 years ago, or it was the year that the Eagles was in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. 2 years ago, the Chiefs kicker struggling that year. Go look at his numbers from 2022. Struggling that year. He snapped out of it the next year, got back to being who he was, had been. Look at your boy from the Bengals. Remember, he started off like game busters. Shooter McPherson. He been struggling, right? It happens. You know, if you're a good kicker, you'll snap out of it eventually. But he set such a high bar and standard that now he's missing kicks and people are like, whoa, what is going on? J.2626, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I told you he just looked like he was back last week. I enjoyed seeing him eat again. I told you, I felt like he was back against the Eagles because he was running. They were running him. He just looked a little shell-shot in that Eagles game. But health-wise, he looked like he was back. You said at the end of the game you thought he might have gotten his swag back. And maybe he did. You know, maybe those last two possessions against Dallas did serve a purpose because he looked more relaxed, calm, comfortable, and cool, calm, and collected today. And it showed in his play and the way he handled everything. I enjoyed seeing him on the grill cooking up them 40 burgers. Oh. Got that napkin now to wipe that juice up off my forearm now. We back in business. I had forgotten how this works. I didn't have the proper utensils. Oh, that tastes really good, JD. That shit tastes excellent, bro. You outdid yourself this time. That shit tastes excellent. That's really good. Gotta wash that down. That's really good. You didn't cook the onions too much. Those mushrooms are extravagant. What kind of mushrooms are those? Portobello? Portobello, fruity, tutti, right? Tutti, fruity. Oh, that's really good. I like that. It's really good. Well, Red Wing 01, been a member for 25 months. Big win. Long awaited by Terry plus B-Rob, eating good. Eating good in the neighborhood, man. Those two are difference makers on the offensive side of football. Huge. And if you get those guys going early, which they did in this game, you see the difference it makes. It makes a massive difference, in my opinion. Will Kavanaugh, been a member for 23 months, almost at their 2-year Annie, getting dangerously close, who writes, crazy stat. First home win in December since 2017. No, Will, stop. That's a lie. That's fake news. You just made that up, Will. Stop it. I don't believe you. I need more people. I need more people to substantiate that. There's no way we haven't won in December at home in 7 years. No. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Benjamin Slade, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Benjamin writes, after the Cowboys game, I was scared we would lose out. I was never scared we were going to lose out. But I was scared at the things that I had seen and the lack of adjustments being made and just the silly mistakes we were making. But I also said we looked like a tired team. And it was good to see them shake off that, not rest on that, tired excuse, not limp into the bye, but go into the bye, roaring. Now hopefully come out of the bye with even more energy, exuberance, and enthusiasm, and play the kind of way that they went into the bye playing, off the Tennessee game. He says, after today, we can win them all. Despair and delusion, two sides of the same coin. Facts. It's a very thin line that we walk as fans. I'm not getting sucked in this time. I'm just going to enjoy the ride. I told you what I'm going to do. Lay back, kick it, and enjoy the ride. Yeah. Let me get a bite of that 40 burger. Lay back, kick it, and enjoy the ride. It's Jay hitting, JD. Yeah, it's Jay hitting. Lay back, kick it, and enjoy the ride. Ain't nothing but a Jaden party. Ain't nothing but a Jaden party. This Jane bang, this Jane slap right here. Hey, JD, I need one more of these before the end of the season, bro. This DJ slap right here, man. Wow, that's really good. Marquell Proctor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Marquell writes, way too early pick. What player do you have your eyes on in the first round? Yeah, you can't ask me, bro. We are in the midst of a potential playoff season. You can't ask me about the draft. I'm not paying attention. Talking draft in December is loser talk. That's for the teams like Dallas and the teams like the Jets and the teams who have no hope. Those are the teams that I don't want to talk about the draft. What do I need to talk about the draft for? We have a chance to do damage. Wrong conversation. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I need me some Lattimore, not Lattimore. JD5 off the Rookie of the Year. We about to get some Lattimore, all right? This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully that's the last time you'll hear of Lattimore, and you'll get a lot more of Lattimore. Ethan Dykes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ethan writes, my God, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, Lou, some thoughts. Guys were wide open on us all game. If the Titans don't drop a bunch of passes, a different game. Also, offense stalled at key points. I don't disagree with the part about the Titans being open. I don't disagree with that. They were open. And like I said, we'll give the defense a pass because they didn't catch the ball, because Will Levis and Calvin Ridley weren't on the same page, because he didn't hit Calvin Ridley on that deep ball when, for some inexplicable reason, Joe Witt Jr. put Benjamin St. Juice on an island one-on-one with no safety help, and Calvin Ridley cooked him. Yeah, all of those things happened. But bad teams are bad teams for a reason. They're 3-9 now for a reason. They came into the game at 3-8 for a reason. And so we were able to get away with that. By no means was this a perfect performance, but it was perfect for what we needed it to be, which was we needed a win. We needed a convincing win. We needed a confidence-building win, and we got it. Are there things to clean up? You damn right there are. Guys were running like that second touchdown to Nick Westbrook-Akina. That's a 3rd and 7. And we're rushing forward, we're dropping 7 into coverage, and nobody's even close to this man. And there are 3 commanders, Wagner, Chin, not Chin, he was the one that hit him. Probably Quan Martin and somebody, 3 dudes right there in front. Nobody bothered to run with him. Just let him run through the zone into a hole and catch the touchdown. Like, that's problematic for me. That Calvin Ridley drop where he stopped and shut it down and then tried to rev it back up and it hit off his hand. He was wide open. Wide ass open. But again, hopefully some of that changes with Marshawn Lattimore's presence. We'll see. I don't agree that the offense stalled out at key moments. I don't agree with that. They stalled out. We punted twice today, man. And we had an interception. Right? 3 straight drives where we didn't produce points. After producing points on 4 out of your first 5 drives, and the one that you didn't produce points on, your kicker missed. And then after that, after the interception, you produced points on your remaining 2 out of your last 3 drives. The 3rd drive, you didn't need points. Or excuse me, you produced points out of 2 out of your last 4 drives. You missed another kick, and then you didn't need a touchdown on the last drive, or else you could have scored it if you needed it. Right? So I don't think they start out at key points. When they needed to put Tennessee away, they did. Right? Outside of the interception. When Tennessee tried to make it a game at 28-13, JD threw the interception. Thought it should have been caught. But he throws the interception. The defense, I think it was 28-10. No, it was 28-13 when he threw the interception. Defense got the stop. And then they went down and they scored a touchdown. And then they got the offense gave up defense gave up a touchdown. The offense went down, scored another touchdown. So I disagree with they stalled out at key points, but I do agree with guys were running open. Guys were running open. I do agree with that. Benjamin Slade, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Benjamin writes, you know what I like about Terry? He is never an asshole in the game. The league has so many wide receiver divas. He just goes to work. That's why Terry is so appreciated amongst the fan base, is because of his human mentality, right? Where Terry could be, like you said, an asshole about not getting the ball. You saw Malik Neighbors, last week after the Giants didn't give him the ball until they were down 30-0 against the Bucks, and how he was smacking his gum. I don't know. You gotta ask Dave. That's about, I don't know. Yeah, all that bullshit. Terry, there's so many times where Terry, the most we've ever heard from Terry, and this is an outburst for Terry, was when he said, yeah, I was running cardio, which was the truth. Terry is, and DQ has said this, he's the constant professional. He's the constant professional. Every day Terry shows up, he's the same guy. And that's why the fans love him. Mr. HTTR, been a member for 23 months, almost at that 2-year Annie, who writes, 12-5, fellas. Let go. Speaking it into existence, hashtag HTTC. Look, one at a time. I'm not going down that road with y'all. I'm not playing that game with y'all. I told y'all I got off that train when we lost to Dallas. Now I am a 1 game at a time focus type of fan. So I'm going back to where I was at the beginning of the season, not looking forward to the final 4 games. I'm looking forward to the next game, which is against the New Orleans Saints. So you can speak it into existence. I love positivity being spoken into existence. And I love throwing that out into the atmosphere. But yeah, I'm dialing it back. Next game is the biggest game, and the next game is the New Orleans Saints. Speaking of Saints, what are they doing right now against the Rams? I'm actually interested. 14-14 in that game. Okay. So we'll see what happens there. Ethan Dykes, my guy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. All right. Also, our pass rush doesn't look as good as it once was. And can we please draft a kicker next year? Regardless, great to get back on track. Hell, I agree with the pass rush. It had its moments. Like Deron Payne actually won a couple of times. Go Deron! He won a couple of times today. But all jokes aside, they let him out of the pocket too many times. And they, to me, didn't impact the game the way that I would have liked to have seen them impact the game today. But with that said, they did enough, and they did apply pressure on him. But the kicker thing, I'm not looking to spend a draft pick on a kicker. If you can find one after the draft is over, that's great. If you got to spend a 7th rounder on one, so be it. But I would prefer to not draft a kicker. Find one. All right, they'll be around. Find one. But we need a kicker, that's for sure. I agree with that. But it does feel good. Feels good to be back on track for sure. Yoshi, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Yoshi writes, duh! Yes, indeed. Frankie Louvu is a monster. I told y'all would love him. I told you would love Oos. I said, I'm telling you right now, you're going to fall in love. There will be a love affair between Frankie Louvu and his fan base. I was such a fan from afar when he was in Carolina. Didn't think we'd have a chance because I didn't think Carolina would be dumb enough to let that man walk away. But here he is. And boy, am I glad he's on our team. He's so fun to watch. We talking all pro. 8 sacks is insane. Good team win. No more St. Juice on my screen. Celebrate! We might, and look, I don't want to speak that into existence yet because we may still need him. I told you, even when we traded for Marshawn Lattimore, that there's a chance that we may still need Benjamin St. Juice before this thing's said and done. So don't get crazy, but it does feel good to know that he shouldn't be starting the next time we suit up in 2 weeks. Marshawn Lattimore will make his Commander's debut against his former team. Talk about poetic justice. It'd be nice if he made a play against his former team. Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, CD, OG, triple OG. Thank you for being a part of the MOBB, who writes, Lucas versus Wiley on the right side or continue to platoon right tackle position. I think he's going to put Wiley back in. Like Cornelius Lucas is one of the best swing tackles in football, if you ask me. I would prefer him to just start at left tackle, or go back to the platooning at left tackle. But they're going to let Coleman rock. I want to see what he did in this game because I didn't think Coleman was terrible last game. DQ said it was his best game. I just didn't think that the Cowboys really challenged him in the game last week. The week prior, he was awful, as we know, against Philadelphia, and he was bad against the Steelers. So I want to see what he did in this game because, like I said, the protection was great tonight. So be nice to see if he played well. But they're not going to take Wiley out of the lineup, and I don't think Wiley. He hasn't been awful this year, but as far as I'm concerned, Cornelius Lucas is good to just have him available should somebody go down. To know that 78 can step in, that's a good feeling to have. But it's Wiley's job when he's healthy. Going Commando, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Going Commando writes, think Cliff heard some of that noise, Lou. First throw to 17 on the right and heavy targets the rest of the game. I told you that was a statement that the first play of the game was Terry, not only to Terry, but Terry on the right side of the formation. Yeah, he heard the noise for sure. Love a coach willing to adjust and listen. we've heard that from Cliff all season long. I love that. Like, that's why I was like, Cliff, this is like, this whole stubborn thing is not you. That's not who you've been. Like, you've been receptive to guys coming up to you, telling you, hey, this is what the look I'm getting. Hey, let me get a deep ball here. Or, hey, let's do this or that. You've been receptive to that all year long. Like, don't now die on this hill of, I'm going to do it my way. Like, don't go full Eric Bieniemy on me. You've been anti-Eric Bieniemy, and we've loved you for it. And you've been successful because of it. And it was good to see him, like, a week before the bye. Usually self-scouting comes on the bye week. It was good to see him just say, you know what? Let me do a little bit of self-scouting here. Let me do what I need to do to make sure I put us in the best position to have success. So it's good to see him adjust and listen, like you said. And hopefully that continues coming out of the bye as they self-scout over this bye week and really dig in to some of the tendencies that they've created. Let's see what they come up with. I thought we looked at as a unit, we looked as diverse as we've looked in over a month, with creativity to the bread and butter and really establishing that, spreading the ball around, quick screens, getting the ball out of Jaden's hands quickly. It looked like the operation we fell in love with early in the season. It was good to see, for sure. Chauncey Davis, my guy, Steve D, OG, triple OG. Thank you for being a part of the MOBB. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, number 36 is a different type of young man. First, he gives up his number. Second, he's released. Third, he's re-signed, and then plays and balls out. Chris Rodriguez has been doing that all season long. That's the second time he's been cut and re-signed to the practice squad. Like you said, gave up his number when they traded for Lattimore, didn't squabble about it. And every time his number is called, I have a feeling that if we don't give this man a roster spot, that somebody's going to sign him away from us eventually. Like, at some point, you got to keep him around, because it's only so long the rest of the league is going to take notice of what he's doing when he gets opportunities, and somebody's not going to say, all right, we need a bat. We banged up. And I know you can protect like one guy a week or whatever, or I don't know how many times you can do it, but at some point, they got to make a conscious decision on him to say, hey, we can't lose this dude. He's been too valuable when the injuries have hit. He's been too valuable. And again, his mentality fits into what this team has done well this year, which is be selfless. The mark of a good team is putting the team before yourself. And there have been countless examples of players doing just that, from Jeremy McNichols to, Chris Rodriguez Jr. to so many other guys, right, who might not be happy with their roles, like a Derek Forrest. But you haven't heard Derek Forrest complain. His dad might have been a little upset. You ain't heard Derek Forrest say nothing, and Derek was out there celebrating when we forced a fumble. He was right there in the mix, and they recovered it on special teams, and he was right there running down the field. And like, dudes have put their ego and their pride aside and done what was for the good of the team, right? And Chris Rodriguez is the latest example, and maybe the greatest example of that this season. Been fun to watch. KP Flex, been a member for 32 months. Really appreciate you. Who writes, I enjoyed the game. It was a great December cold game and loud and fun. Thanks again, LT. No, thank you for being a valued member of the MOBB. Excuse me. None of this exists without members like you. So I appreciate you. And that's my small token of appreciation for y'all supporting me, man. Being members of the mob and holding the kid down. And you did your job. You went there. You were loud. You made a difference. You went in. You extracted the dub. And you came and you got out of there. And I love it, man. So hell of a job, KP Flex. Hell of a job. Going Commando. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Man, Lou, missed the taste of 40 burgers, man. This one is delicious. JD5 killed it on this one, man. This one is damn good. He says JD5 with 4 total TDs looked like OG JD. Yeah, it looked like the original, right? Ain't nothing but a Jaden party, party. Ain't nothing but a Jaden party, party. Ain't nothing but a Jaden party. Got them dubs up. We back in the building. He said, throw away that cold weather BS. Secondary kept trying to keep it interesting. Yeah, I'm glad we were able to put that to rest too. Yeah, he definitely would rather play in warm climates. Who wouldn't? But he didn't have on like full sleeves today. It was cold. Like it was legit cold. And I think they asked him some questions this week that I think kind of rubbed him the wrong way about cold weather. And remember, I made the comment. I'm guilty. It's charged. I made the comment when we played in our first semi-chilly game against Chicago. This man had on the full, cold weather garment, the Scully, the whole head cap, the sleeves, everything. Like he was freezing. I'm like, it was a couple of people there. I was like, yo, was it that cold at the game? I felt like it was a nice, brisk 55. It was like, nah, bro, it was a nice like fall, day. But he put that to rest. He came out, no sleeves. It was cold. It was sub 40 today. No sleeves, and he went out and played ball. So yeah, glad he put that to bed. And yeah, the secondary definitely tried to keep it interesting. But good thing is they didn't give up the big plays. They didn't give up the touchdowns, and the offense kept going. And that's the most important part. Reggie T, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Reggie T writes, is it my imagination or are we slow to make needed adjustments at half and during the game? It might be your imagination. I haven't really felt like this team has not made adjustments this season. I really haven't felt that. In the past, I think that was a thing. We might have had one or two games this season where the adjustments were slow to come, or the Terry thing was an adjustment that they were fighting for whatever reason. I can't tell you, but I haven't really watched too many games this season and said they need to do this, or this, and they just never made the adjustment. I never felt that this year. But again, you could be onto something. That's not how I've viewed it this year. But it's whatever. Buccaneers in a fight. Rams have taken the lead. Saints are on the move. Eagles take the lead into the fourth quarter, up 2. Baltimore looks like they're going to be starting at their own 4-yard line. So they got a long march if they're going to try to win that football game. We'll see what happens there. But going commando, been a member for 31 months. Really appreciate you. Getting closer to that 3-year Annie, right? Bye week is going to feel good, Lou. Celebrate. Feels good. It's going to feel great. This bye week is going to feel great. Eric Sunderland. Thank you for the super chat. Eric Sunderland. Thank you for this. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. All right. Been a member for 14 months. Who writes, just check first home win in December since 2017. That is crazy. That is wild. If that is true, that you're the second person to say that. So now I think it is true. I think there is some validity to it. If that is in fact true, that is crazy. But it just goes to show you the level of ineptitude that existed here under the last 2 regimes. Because that ain't just Ronald Rivera. That goes back to Jay Gruden. But that speaks to our lack of success when it mattered the most. We would play competent ball leading up to those months. And then we would get to the end of the season. We remember the meltdowns by Jay Gruden late in seasons. We remember the meltdowns by Ronald Rivera, where we'd win 4 in a row, get back to 500, and then, absolutely bottom out in December and into January. So it's not surprising that that's the case, but I'm shocked that's 7 years we haven't won a home game in December. That is insane. But it speaks to the level of ineptitude that has existed here with us. So I'm not shocked. Will Kavanaugh, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. That's crazy. I am shocked. That's crazy. That's utter craziness. Will Kavanaugh, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Will Kavanaugh writes, the beat reporters have been posting it on X. Yeah, It's probably true, Will. That's wild, Will. Like, my brain can't compute. The math ain't math. And you telling me we hadn't won before today at home in December since 7 years ago. 2017, we're in 2024. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. And I'm floored. JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy, John Perez writes, not NFL related, but how do you feel about the Juan Soto sweepstakes? Heard the Mets and Red Sox are 2 top finalists. Yanks could be out on him. It's a lot of money. I've never heard of the Yankees being outbid for a player that they wanted. I think they're going to get him back, but we know that there are no limits to what teams like the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, that there's no limit that they won't go to get the guy that they want. And because baseball does not have a salary cap, you can spend as much money as you want. And so we've seen the Dodgers essentially buy a World Series with all the money that they spend on a yearly basis. I think they just signed another pitcher, did the Dodgers. Like, this is what they do. But would I be shocked if the Red Sox, who want to be relevant again, are willing to spend on Juan Soto? No, I wouldn't be shocked. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to end up being a Yankee. But it's a lot of money that they're going to have to spend, whoever gets him. Joe Rockhead, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Joe Rockhead writes, quick pass, running game, and Terry involved is like magic. 40 burger, fresh off the grill. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. JD, it's shake bang, bro. This joint slap right here, man. That's all I was asking for. Where's the quick game? What happened to the ball out of JD's hands quickly? What happened to that? Like, it became a lost art all of a sudden, and it was unnecessary to me. Felt like we should have been doing this all along, but it took a bad loss to a bad team to get us back where we needed to be, but I'm glad we back where we need to be. So that feels good. I cannot lie about that. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy, C-Mac, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Chris, thank you for your generosity as always. Really, truly do appreciate you. Who writes, hey, Lou, what's up, Chris? Hope you and the family are having a good holiday season. Likewise, Chris, likewise. Good win. It was great win. Says, looking at the 6th seed with the NFC, with the Packers, probably need to run the table at most 1 loss. Thoughts? 2 questions. 1, 2. Who do you have winning the NFC South and West, and why? We can definitely move up. Like, I'm not opposed to getting to, like, it's going to take some work, like you said. You know, Packers are playing good ball and they're not losing games, so going to take some work on our part. But I think when it's all said and done, either Seattle or Arizona wins that division. I don't believe in the 49ers this year. I think it's Seattle. Seattle right now has the upper hand. Arizona had a tough loss today, but they went into Minnesota and dominated that game and just couldn't hold on at the very end. So I still think Arizona got a shot to win that division. I'll go with Seattle because they're leading right now, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's Arizona. It's one of those 2 teams. I think Tampa Bay is going to come back and win the NFC. Now, they got to beat Carolina today. That's a bad loss if they don't come back and win that game. I expect them to come back and win that game, and I expect Tampa Bay to come back and win that division. That's what I see happening there. Joe Rockhead, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up the rights. Cole Luke got away with more false starts than Moses. Boy, you ain't lying today. Go sit down. You ain't lying, boy. Cole Luke got away with at least a 5-pack of false starts. At least. I'm like, bro, you telling me he ain't jumped? They let him get away with murder today. Murder, I tell you. I ain't complaining. They ain't call it, but that brother jumped at least 4 times. Bare minimum, I'm thinking more like 5. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, my guy, Metaphor. Double up. I think that's a double up for you, if not a triple up. Says, Xmas Eve 2017, last December win versus Broncos. I remember that game. It was a meaningless win late in the season that messed up our draft status, but I didn't care. I just wanted to win. I want to say The running back was what's the guy's name? I can see his face. I almost had it. It was on the tip of my damn tongue, and I just forgot his name. Capri Bibbs was the running back that day, if I ain't mistaken, when we won that game. Capri Bibbs. Since 2018, since 18 versus New York, Philly, L's, 19 versus Philly, New York, L's, 20 Seattle, Carolina, L's, 21 Dallas, Philly, L's, 22 New York, Cleveland, L's, 23 Miami, San Francisco, L's. Wow. December has not been kind to us, apparently. And the opportunity, I mean, the Giants, they gave us the Giants almost every year, it felt like, and we just didn't know how to beat the Giants. That's on us, right? Wow. That is really startling stuff. It really is. All right. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Let's go ahead and go inside the odds, brought to you by BetUS one final time.
Inside the odds.
Looking for a new book this football season? BetUS has you covered. Look, we're halfway through, well, more than halfway through the season. All these other sports are starting up. College basketball is starting to get into full swing. NBA is now in full swing. We're getting towards the end of the college football season. Things are heating up there as we're getting into the bowl season now. The playoff new format about to kick in. We're about to get to those championship games. A lot of good stuff happening. BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Try their new prop builder. You know, I told you their prop builder is really fun stuff. I played around with it. You can do some pretty interesting things. If you've got a hunch, throw it into the prop builder and see what you can come up with and win yourself some money. Also, you can get back to 10% up to 10% back twice a year on your net losses, long as you've been active within the last 6-month period. And then here's the big kicker. If you're a brand new user to BetUS, you can use the promo code YouTube150, get you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. Your next two deposits of 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. So these were the prop bets for the Commanders game, the triple threat, as they call it on BetUS. Jaden Daniels, passing yards, 217.5. He went under on that number. I would have taken the over, so I would have lost there. But he went under 206 yards in this game for Jaden Daniels. Rushing yards, 37.5. Not sure if he hit the over on that either. I think he was in the 30s, but I'm not sure if he actually hit the over there. Let's check and see. I feel like he had 30-something yards, but like 34 or something. 34. I hit it right on the head. 34. So the under on that, I would have taken the over. So I would have been wrong there as well. I would have taken the over on his rush yards against the Titans now that he has become more of a threat on the ground. And then Terry McLaurin, 55.5. I think Terry had just slightly over that. I think he had 70-something yards today, if I'm not mistaken. Did Terry McLaurin. Terry had 73 yards on 8 targets. So yes, he was the most targeted receiver, which he should be every week. Ertz had the second most at 5. Diami had 5, which was nice to see Diami getting involved. Somebody asked me last week who I thought could step up on the offense down the stretch, and I said Diami Brown was the guy. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different targets catch the ball in this game, which you love to see. That's the kind of distribution we need. So McLaurin did go over on the 55.5 yards receiving in this game. So that was the only one to hit the over amongst the triple threat there, brought to you by BetUS. So let's finish up in the comment section before we get out of here. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy, C-Mac, double up, thank you for doubling up. My guy, Chris, writes, hey, Lou, question. When does the kicker situation become a red flag concern for a playoff push? Just FYI, Terry is 3rd in the league in receiving yards. Now, remember, that's without a bye. So he could come back off the bye and be 7th. You see what I'm saying? He's played an extra game. Most teams have had their bye week already. Terry has not. So that's something to keep in mind. But we'll see what it looks like when he comes off that bye week. But as far as the kicking situation, look, it's a red flag right now because we're in the midst of a playoff run and the kicker missed 2 kicks today. And the first of those 2 misses, it changed the momentum of a game that was firmly in hand and in control by the Commanders. That miss gave the Titans life before the half, and they took advantage and they got a touchdown and made it a game. Not a game, but instead of it being completely over and done with, they made it a game that they could try to survive in and maybe make it a ball game. And so it's a red flag right now. Like, you're going to win games against good teams, you're going to need field goal kickers. Ain't no way around that. You're not blowing out the Eagles. You're not blowing out good teams in this league. You're going to need your kicker. And he missed 2 kicks today. It's a red flag. The only thing you can do is to put yourself in a position where you don't need him. Today we were able to do that. You hope to be able to do that against New Orleans in 2 weeks. But the sad truth of the matter is you're going to need him against Philadelphia. And if you plan on making the playoffs, you're going to need your kicker. And I'm hoping Austin Seibert is back by then. Because I told you guys very specifically, I don't trust Zane Gonzalez. And I think Zane Gonzalez is going to show his true colors in this game, and that he did. So I'm not shocked by what we saw today. It was only further proof of what I thought about him as a place kicker, and it is what it is. So it is a concern for me, for sure. Kinchlow, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB mob. You know what to do. Show Kinchlow some love. Welcome him with open arms. Welcome to the squad. Kinchlow, greatly appreciate you. Joshua Farish, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joshua Farish writes, what did you think of Chin in coverage? He's hit or miss. He had his moments. I thought he had some really tight coverage at times. He got away with a little bit of a play on that end zone shot, but they didn't call it, so it's a good play. But he was grabbing his arm, but he did it in a way that they didn't see it. He had a great, he was in great position on the out route, but it was a great throw. Then he had some plays where, he yanked the guy's, shirt almost off his back, and he still caught the ball, but he pushed him out of bounds, but he got called for the flag there. So he's hit or miss in coverage. Right? I think he's fine. He got called for another penalty earlier in the game before that one. So, look, you know what Jeremy Chin is. So utilize him in that manner, play to his strengths, and you should be fine. I think he's just fine. I have no issues with him whatsoever. Christopher McLaughlin, once again, thank you for the generosity. Truly do appreciate you and all that you do for the Louie Tee Network, but especially for the mob. Once again, blessing the mob with 10 brand new memberships. Stand up! All 10 of you are now the newest members of the MOBB, courtesy of our guy, Christopher McLaughlin. Once again, thank you for your unwavering support and your very, very generous nature. 10 new members, courtesy of our guy, Chris McLaughlin. Big shout out to my guy, C-Mac. Thank you so much. 10 new members, stand up. You in the building, courtesy of Chris McLaughlin. All right. Said the mic is tripping. I don't know what that's about. Maybe that means it's time for me to get the hell out of here. Maybe that's what that means. Well, we're almost there. So y'all just bear with me if I'm having issues with the mic. Y'all just bear with me down the stretch here. Curtis Owens, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Curtis. Right. It's way off topic. A while ago, I heard you talking about being a Titan, so it got me to thinking, check my yearbook, and what do you know? Who else could it be but my man Lou? I was a Titan. A Lake Taylor Titan, indeed. Yes, indeed. Go Titans. Just drove past the school the other day, looked over there across the lake, and I was like, man, building ain't looking too good these days. And I keep hearing they trying to turn our alma mater into a charter school, but it's hanging on by a thread, man. But it ain't looking too good for the old Titan building over there. But we'll see if it hangs in there or not. But shout out to you, Curtis, man. Really, truly do appreciate you. Anyway, I digress. All right, I see y'all telling me my mic tripping, so that means it's time for me to get out of here. One quick shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the stream. Really do appreciate BetUS for all that they do. Go head over to this site, betus.com. Use the promo code YouTube 150 to get you 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit of up to $2,000 and 125% sign up bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube 150. So we won. Celebrate. 8-5. Heading into the bye week. Feels good. Feels good. One more bite of the 40 burger. All right. I'm out of here. Y'all said my mic tripping, so I'm out of here. Y'all take it easy. Have a good one. Man, it feels good to be back in the winning circle. Take care. God bless. And good night.